Baseball has a way of giving us stories that last a lifetime. 2016 was no exception. Imagine you're a Cleveland Indians fan. You've got the young Francisco Lindor, the power switch-hitting, Gold Glove-winning all-star shortstop. You have the third-place finisher in AL Cy Young voting in Corey Kluber, the league leader in stolen bases in the veteran Rajai Davis, and traded for all-star reliever Andrew Miller. Your team is well-rounded, and you won the Central Division. The only problem is, you haven't won it all since 1948, a glaring fact that keeps Cleveland fans up at night. But they do have a little hope as their hometown Cleveland Cavaliers had just won the NBA Finals a few months prior after coming back from down 3-1 to the Warriors in that historic 7-game series. Little did we know at the time that it wouldn't be the only one that year. There was, however, a very long time in professional sports where every team could be happy that they at least weren't the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs were cursed. To make a long, heartbreaking, goat-filled story short, the Cubs have been waiting 108 years to win the World Series. They've had disaster after disaster prevent them from doing it several times, and the die-hard fan base has been there through it all. But this year, they were the favorites. They had the MVP in Kris Bryant. They had 7 All-Stars on the roster. 3 of their starting pitchers finished in the top 10 in Cy Young voting, and with Gold Glovers Anthony Rizzo and Jason Hayward on the field, backed up by other great defenders in Addison Russell and Javier Baez, the Cubs went on to win an MLB best 103 games. With 2 teams looking to reverse their championship fortune, the 2016 playoffs began. The Cleveland Indians are able to win Game 1 against the Boston Red Sox in large part due to Andrew Miller coming in and shutting down the Red Sox offense. This would become a trend in this postseason. The Indians will have a small lead, and Andrew Miller proceeds to destroy the hopes and dreams of the opposing team, followed closely by closer Cody Allen to finish the game. The Indians would sweep the Red Sox in 3 games. In the National League Division Series, we have the Cubs taking on the San Francisco Giants. Johnny Cueto and John Lester battle on the mound in Game 1, and they were dealing until the scoreless tie was broken in the bottom of the 8th inning.
The quick pitch, and Baez sends it deep to left. Pagan is there at the wall, and it's in the basket.
Javier Baez gives the Cubs a 1-run lead, and that is all they needed. Aroldis Chapman comes in to get the save, and he shuts the door on San Francisco. More big hits, including a home run by pitcher Travis Wood and another save for Aroldis Chapman, gives the Cubs a Game 2 win. Game 3 came to a dramatic end as Cubs were down by 2 runs in the 9th inning when their MVP Kris Bryant came to the dish.
Swinging a high fly ball to deep left field. At the track, at the wall, Blanco leaps, and it's gone! Kris Bryant has tied it in the ninth!
After a game-tying home run in the 9th, this one needed extras, where the score would remain 5-5 until the bottom of the 13th, where Joe Panik delivered a walk-off double. Now the series at 2-1 for the Cubs. The Giants are on the brink of forcing a Game 5 with a 5-3 lead. They just need 3 more outs, and for the second game in a row, they blow the save, and the Cubs tie the game in the 9th inning. Baez then hits Hayward home, and the Cubs take the lead for Aroldis Chapman to do his thing and send the Cubs to the NLCS. On to the American League Championship Series, where Game 1 saw a pitcher's duel between Marco Estrada and Corey Kluber. Lindor would break the tie with a clutch 2-run home run in the 6th inning, which would set the stage for 6'7" lefty reliever Andrew Miller. The Blue Jays were a potent offense with big-name hitters, and Miller made them look like children, striking out 5 batters in 2 innings. The Indians go on to win 2-0 after Cody Allen gets the save. Josh Tomlin continues the domination for Cleveland's pitching staff, bringing a 2-1 lead into the 7th, where Miller takes over again. The Blue Jays, wanting revenge for the day before, strike out against Miller another 5 times. He's pitched 4 innings and recorded 10 strikeouts in this series so far, and the Indians take a 2-0 series lead after striking out 7 of the last 9 Blue Jays batters. An out-of-control bloody blister on the finger of Trevor Bauer prevents him from pitching past the first inning of Game 3. After Jason Kipnis gives Cleveland the lead in the 6th inning, the Indians don't go with Miller in the 7th. This time they decide to go with closer Cody Allen. He delivers, getting them to the 8th with 2 outs, where Miller comes in and gets 3 of 4 to strike out, getting the save and giving Cleveland a 3-0 series lead. Facing elimination, the Blue Jays are able to win Game 4 on a great start from Aaron Sanchez and a home run by Josh Donaldson off of Corey Kluber to give the Blue Jays their first lead in 53 innings. They stay alive and look to Marco Estrada to get them through Game 5. Carlos Santana goes deep in the 3rd and Coco Crisp goes deep in the 4th to give the Indians a 3-0 lead. Andrew Miller comes in the game in the 6th inning, immediately gets an inning-ending double play, easily records the next 6 outs, and Allen gets the save as they shut out the Blue Jays for the 2nd time in 5 games. Cleveland's pitching staff was legendary in this series, striking out the Blue Jays 50 times. Andrew Miller specifically dominated, throwing for 7.2 innings. He didn't give up a single run, struck out 14, only gave up 3 hits, and didn't walk anybody. I challenge you to think of a better performance by a relief pitcher in the playoffs in recent memory. The Indians make the World Series looking to win it for the first time since 1948, but must now wait and see who wins the NLCS. In Game 1 between the Dodgers and the Cubs, a heads-up steal of home from Javier Baez and a stellar start from Jon Lester saw the Cubs with a 3-1 lead, but Chapman starts showing his fatigue and blows the lead in the top of the 8th. In the bottom half, the Cubs had an opportunity to break the game wide open.
Comes the 0-2. High drive into right, back at the wall, it is gone! Grand slam, Montero! Game 1 hero!
The clutch grand slam sends Cubs fans home happy with a Game 1 win. Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers would fight back and shut out the Cubs the next day in Game 2 in a 1-0 victory. Now in LA for Game 3, and the Dodgers take a 4-0 lead over Jake Arrieta and the Cubs. They'd score 2 more and Kenley Jansen would shut the Cubs out again for a 2nd straight game to take a 2-1 series lead. The Cubs need to turn the offense on, and they tie the series in Game 4 off of home runs from Addison Russell and Anthony Rizzo. They scored 10 runs in that pivotal Game 4. Game 5 sees Jon Lester pitching again, and he pitched 7 innings of 1-run ball after another clutch go-ahead home run from Cubs shortstop Addison Russell. The Cubs take a 3-2 series lead. Facing Kershaw in Game 6, the Cubs light him up, scoring 5 runs in 5 innings, but the Dodgers can't find the offense themselves against Kyle Hendricks, who throws 7 1/3 shutout innings. Chapman comes in for the 9th and closes the game, sending the Cubs to their first World Series since 1945, and a chance to win it all and break their 108-year championship drought. The World Series between the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago Cubs gets underway in Cleveland, and after a first-inning hiccup from Jon Lester gave the Indians a 2-run lead, their pitching staff continued their domination. Corey Kluber strikes out 9 over 6 innings. Andrew Miller comes in, striking out 3 to set up the closer Cody Allen, who struck out the side to end the game. A 6-0 shutout for Cleveland. Jake Arrieta takes on Trevor Bauer in Game 2, and the Cubs would score 5 runs off some clutch hitting from Kyle Schwarber and Ben Zobrist. Arrieta would take a no-hitter into the 6th inning, but with a 4-run lead, the Cubs bring in Chapman to get the 4-out save, evening the series at 1 apiece. Coco Crisp would pinch hit and drive in the sole run of Game 3 in the top of the 7th. Josh Tomlin, Andrew Miller, Brian Shaw, and Cody Allen pitch brilliantly and get the Indians their MLB all-time record-setting 5th shutout of the postseason and 2nd of the World Series. Corey Kluber improves his 0.89 postseason ERA with another 6 innings, and Andrew Miller gives up his first run of the postseason, but the Cubs would fall 7-2 and now face a 3-1 deficit, needing to win 3 straight games, something that's only happened 12 times in the playoffs, 5 times in the World Series since 1925. After a home run from Jose Ramirez gives Cleveland a 1-0 lead, we head to the bottom of the 4th, where Kris Bryant ties the game, and the Cubs would score 2 more. Jon Lester on the mound for the Cubs pitches 6 innings, and with 1 out of the 7th, the the Cubs ask Chapman for 8 outs. The fireballer throws 42 pitches, striking out 4, and extends the series, sending both teams back to Cleveland for Game 6. Game 6 was all Chicago as the heart of the order contributed 12 hits, a couple of 2-out home runs from Kris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo, along with a grand slam from Addison Russell, would give the Cubs starter Jake Arrieta the cushion he needed. The Cubs win Game 6, 9-3. Cleveland was just on the winning side of a 3-1 comeback in the NBA Finals as the Cavs took down the Warriors, and now the Indians are on the verge of blowing a 3-1 lead only 4 months later.
They try to frame me for the pictures I paint to cry and sing. But I won't let them change me. I'll remain forever remain.
Hey, they didn't think I would do it, but I did it. Really having this shit, really winning. Was times that I thought I'd forever be sinning and spinning whatever to stand on the business. But God bless the game, did it all but a sin. All the shots they let off, but they ain't hitting. All the shots we let off, they ain't mentioned was hitting. Go ask why he's fighting them limping. Never change, I'm the same as just in me. The only thing changes the paper my vision. Can't forget about the diamonds and chains on my pendant was starving, but now we each stay for a living. If we ever fell out, you was fake or a beat. Niggas quit.
And a welcome to you. On November 2nd, it's Game 7 of the 2016 World Series. Will it end for the Cubs tonight, who haven't won it all for 108 seasons of wait till next year? And for Cleveland, will they end their 68-year drought? We'll find out on the other side. It's Game 7.
He's trying to become only the second pitcher, the first since Mickey Lolich in 1968, to start and win 3 World Series games.
With history looking to be made on both sides, the Indians ace Corey Kluber looks ahead at Cubs' outfielder Dexter Fowler. Fowler only has 4 hits in this 6-game series, but he looks to make as immediate an impact as you possibly can.
That's in the air to center. Back at the wall. It is gone. What a start. Dexter Fowler, hello in Game 7. 1-0 Chicago.
Dexter Fowler becomes the first player in World Series history to lead off a Game 7 with a home run, and he hits it off of Corey Kluber, who'd only given up 3 runs in the last 30 innings pitched. After an infield single by Kyle Schwarber, Kluber would retire the next 3 batters, and we have a 1-0 Cubs lead. First pitch of the game for the Indians is lined out by Carlos Santana right to the outfielder. Not the outcome they wanted, but it's encouraging to see that Santana is being aggressive early on and rocketing the first pitch, something the rest of the Indians batters will have to do against Hendricks, who pounds the strike zone with lots of strikes. Easier said than done as we see Jason Kipnis striking out swinging, as we're reminded that Kyle Hendricks also hasn't given up a run in 15 innings himself. A nice play by Javier Baez almost gets Lindor at first, but he rushed the throw with lots of time, and Lindor is safe. But the inning ends with a grounder to Russell, and the Cubs maintain their slim lead. Kluber settles in, retiring Russell, Contreras, and Hayward on 7 pitches. I want to highlight this Jose Ramirez at-bat for my young Tiger athletes. We've established that Hendricks throws lots of strikes, so you'd expect Ramirez to do what I mentioned earlier, be aggressive early and hit the ball that he throws for strikes. But Ramirez does a great job at laying off the breaking pitches, since he knows Hendricks doesn't want to throw him strikes because of how good a hitter he is. So by laying off the breaking pitches, he puts himself in a 3-1 count, where he knows he'll likely get a fastball. He lays off the next pitch, which is a fastball. Now he's in a 3-2 count. Knowing that he's probably going to get another fastball, he's looking to do some damage here. He gets one down the middle. Since Hendricks doesn't want to walk him, he had to throw him that good hittable fastball. And this would, however, be erased 2 pitches later as he gets picked off at first base after a great move from Hendricks.
Of Lindor. Here's one there, and he got him.
The tiniest of leans costs the Indians a base runner, and after a Lonnie Chisenholm single, Rajai Davis grounds into the inning-ending double play. Corey Kluber then goes 1-2-3 against the Cubs in the third due to a great throw and tag preventing Kyle Schwarber from reaching second base. Looking to get back in this game, Coco Crisp doubles to left field on a line drive. He then moves to third on a nice bunt from Roberto Perez. Santana then ignites the Cleveland crowd with a game-tying RBI single. An error in the infield would go unpunished though, and the inning ends with the game tied 1-1. A good 8-pitch at-bat for Kris Bryant, fouling off a few, ends with a single, followed by a hit-by-pitch to Anthony Rizzo. The Cubs have 2 on, 1 out when Addison Russell hits a sacrifice fly, followed by a clutch 2-out double from Wilson Contreras to give the Cubs a 2-run lead. The Indians' batters go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the fourth as Corey Kluber comes back out to try and calm this game down and keep his team alive.
Baez into right center. That ball is crushed and gone.
A Javier Baez home run makes it 4-1 Cubs. They then do for the second time what no other team was capable of doing at all that year and scored a run off Andrew Miller in the postseason due to Kris Bryant walking and the Cubs perfectly executing the hit and run to score him from first base on a single from Anthony Rizzo. We head to the bottom of the fifth where Hendricks gets the first 2 outs, but after walking Santana, Joe Maddon and the Cubs go with lefty John Lester, who although has been great this postseason, has not come out of the bullpen for the last 9 years of his career. Along with Lester comes his personal catcher David Ross, the veteran that has announced this would be the last game of his major league career. Ross would throw the ball into the outfield on a routine play, allowing 2 runs to get to scoring position, putting pressure on John Lester, who then bounces a breaking ball in the dirt, which hits off of David Ross's mask and allows both runs to score. In a wild play, the Cleveland Indians are back in this game as we head to the 6th inning, where facing Andrew Miller, David Ross bats looking to suck the momentum out of the stadium, which he had just had a hand in inflating.
Ross flies one into center. Sends Davis back at the wall. It is gone. The 39-year-old in his final game, David Ross, has made it 6-3.
And he makes it 6-3 Cubs, hitting the final home run of his storied career. John Lester goes back out with his catcher and has a clean inning, leaving Geyer on base. The Indians would take Miller out of the game after getting the lefty Kyle Schwarber to line out, relying on Cody Allen to keep this a close game, and he gets the inning-ending double play. Lester would retire the Indians' batters cleanly to end the 7th, and Allen comes back out to retire the Cubs in order in the top of the 8th. They've really needed him to shut down the Cubs' offense, and he's done just that, continuing his incredible postseason. Now down 3 runs with 6 outs left, the Indians' championship dreams are dwindling. Lindor grounds out and Napoli strikes out looking. Ramirez ends the night for John Lester, though, singling for his 2nd hit of the game. The Cubs bring in Aroldis Chapman, who they're confident can get these final 4 outs, despite throwing 62 pitches in games 5 and 6 to win them their first World Series in 108 years. Chapman needs to face Brandon Geyer. His single in the 6th inning was his 2nd hit of the 7-game series. He takes the first 2 pitches for a 1-1 count, fouls off pitch 3 for strike 2, and for my young athletes, it's at this point where as a hitter you can't be thinking of doing too much. Your job is to keep the lineup moving, get the next batter an opportunity to hit any way that you can. In a 1-2 count, it's easy to lose your focus. The fear of striking out makes it easier for the pitcher to strike you out, and Chapman throws well over 100 miles an hour, so he really doesn't need any help. It's time for you to trust your swing and take a hack at the next strike you see. But you don't want to swing at anything, and Geyer does a beautiful job holding off on a few really close pitches, getting himself a 3-2 count, where he knows Chapman has to come after him and give him a strike, which he was ready for, and smashed it into the right field gap, scoring Ramirez from first and putting the tying run in the batter's box, all with 2 outs, against the hardest throwing closer in baseball. Now, Rajai Davis steps in the box. The Cleveland crowd is starting to feel the momentum shifting as Davis takes another very close 100-mile-an-hour pitch for ball 1. He fouls a few tough pitches off and stares Chapman down in a 2-2 count.
The next 2-2. Davis to left and will hit. Oh my! It's gone! Santa Maria!
Chapman blows the save and Rajai Davis hits the biggest home run of his entire life, and one of the biggest home runs in Game 7 history. The Indians fight back in this game and it is tied 6-6. A Yan Gomes strikeout ends the 8th and we start the 9th inning. The Cubs threaten to score, but Javier Baez can't get the bunt down and Dexter Fowler grounds out to short to end the inning. Cubs leave Chapman in the game and he gets the Indians in order and regulation. And right when you thought this game couldn't get any wilder, the Tarps come out and Game 7 is put in a rain delay. The teams would go into their clubhouses for shelter, but the Cubs were not relaxing. Veteran leader Jason Hayward calls a players-only meeting in the Cubs locker room and gives a speech to his team highlighting that the game is not over and that this will only make their victory even sweeter. The teams take the field again. Kyle Schwarber singles, and after a flyout from Kris Bryant, the Indians intentionally walk Rizzo. Ben Zobrist, a champion the year before as a member of the Kansas City Royals, delivers the go-ahead double, putting Chicago on top yet again. Another single from Montero gives them a 2-run lead, and the Cubs are 3 outs away from history. Carl Edwards Jr. gets the first 2 batters, but a walk and another clutch 2-out RBI in the form of a single from Rajai Davis makes it a 1-run game. The Cubs bring in Mike Montgomery, who would only need 2 pitches.
0-1. This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series! Bryant makes the play! It's over! And the Cubs have finally won it all! 8-7-10!